Man, was it just me, or did both Empoleon and Venusaur look really small this episode? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, episode 142 of the Sun and Moon anime titled Burn with Passion, Get Filled with Intensity. A full battle just dropped, and the exhibition match continues between Ash and Kukui. This time, Kukui brings out Pokemon that Ash didn't know he had. Can Ash contend with these new Pokemon? Well, let's find out. So I'm going to combine the review and recap of this episode because this is a very battle heavy episode. So rather than going move by move, I'll just give the summary of each battle. If you want to read the move by move, you can click the link in the description below. Alright, the episode starts back off where we left it with Lycanroc versus Braviary. At first it looks like Lycanroc has the advantage, countering Rock Slide with counter and then hitting a bite. But it takes massive damage when Braviary hits it with Sky Drop and eventually KOs it when Braviary hits it with Superpower. I said this in the last episode, but flying Pokemon tend to inherently have an advantage in the anime since they can avoid moves and, as we saw in this battle, can force their opponents into the air. We've seen Ash basically use this exact same tactic with Charizard in the past, except in this case, instead of Seismic Toss, it was Sky Drop. And even though Ash's Lycanroc survived it, it was pretty beat up, so one superpower was able to knock it out. Even though Lycanroc's a rock-type Pokemon, Kukui was able to take advantage of the fact that Lycanroc can't really fly and can only attack from the ground, while his Braviary can do all that. Ash decides that in order to have an even playing field, he needs something that can fly, and that something is Rowlet. This one's a pretty short match. At first, Braviary just flies through Rowlet's attacks like it's nothing and chases Rowlet as it's ascending in the air. But that was Ash's plan, since flying straight up in the air means that it can't brace itself from getting hit with a Seed Bomb to the face. A tennis match with the Seed Bomb ensues until the Braviary is able to get a hit in with Steel Wing, but unfortunately for it, it gets KO'd when it goes for Superpower and Rowlet avoids it and hits it with Brave Bird. I don't know if this is implied at all, and it probably wasn't, so this is just in my head, but after Braviary used Superpowered, it was probably weakened. Maybe it's just me trying to make sense of it, but think about it. Ash was able to knock it out with a single Brave Bird. Now, I know it took a bit of damage from Lycanroc, and Brave Bird is a pretty powerful move, but Kukui's Braviary is one of his ace Pokemon. In fact, it's the second most used Pokemon in the show that we've seen as an audience. Seed Bomb's a grass type move, so it probably didn't do that much to the flying type Braviary, but it would make sense that Seed Bomb and Brave Bird would have been able to knock it out if you think about the fact that Superpower causes the user to drop a stage in both attack and defense. That would also make sense why Rowlet was able to bounce back from Steel Wing like it was nothing. Kukui then pulls out his Venusaur. Hijinks ensues when Ash goes for Brave Bird, but Rowlet gets trapped inside of Venusaur's flower. Ash is able to avoid the incoming Solar Beam that it's going to use by using Feather Dance strategy, the same one that he used on Hau. But in the end it didn't really matter since it gets hit with Sludge Bomb and Vine Whip, which KOs Rowlet. Even though this battle was mostly played up for laughs, I still don't understand how Rowlet was able to avoid Solar Beam in this situation. It made sense in the Hau battle, he dodged a Sky attack and that was a pretty direct attack, but in this case he was still inside the bulb when Solar Beam happened. I guess we're supposed to assume that Rowlet flew up in the air as soon as Venusaur opened up its flowers, but even then it doesn't make sense how they showed it, since it went pretty high up in the air before moving to the left. I think this is a case of writer and animator not really being on the same page. I assume the writer wrote something like, Rowlet is going to get out of the flower as soon as he opens it up for Solar Beam, and then use Feather Dance to move out of the way. But when the animator was working on it, he thought, that doesn't look that good, so let me have Venusaur use Solar Beam and then Rowlet can dart out of the Solar Beam. That looks better. So I think that's the same case. But anyways, after Rowlet is KO'd, Ash pulls out his Torracat, which gives him the type advantage, and it's still powered up from when it absorbed Blast Burn. So the match ends pretty quickly when Ash has Torracat use Fire Fang, followed up by Fire Blast. It's not able to counter much since Torracat is so powered up. Ash then recalls his Torracat since he's saving it for Incineroar, and sends out his Pikachu when Kukui sends out his Empoleon. This one's a short but action-packed match where Ash decides to fight Steel with Steel and Pikachu and Empoleon go at it with Iron Tail and Metal Claw. Unfortunately for Pikachu, it gets caught in Empoleon's Whirlpool attack and becomes dizzy, so Ash recalls it and instead decides to pull out Melmetal because it's heavy enough to withstand Whirlpool. And it works, because he's able to knock out Empoleon after blocking a Hydro Cannon and then withstanding a Whirlpool and then countering with Double Iron Bash. Smart strategy by Ash to go with the heavier Pokemon to tank attacks like Whirlpool, although I question why he didn't just use Thunderbolt from Pikachu. In universe, of course. I know the reason is that they're trying to save Pikachu for the endgame, so it's not going to do much right now. I guess you can argue the fact that it was able to break through Electro Web may have caused Ash to believe that electric types wouldn't be effective, but again, that's a bit of a stretch. Kukui is pumped though, even after losing his Empoleon, because he's having fun with the battle. And then he calls out his ace Pokemon, his Incineroar, to counter Melmetal. This Pokemon is a beast! We've known that before, but it catches a double Iron Bash and then uses Blast Burn on close range to KO Melmetal, but the fact that it caught a double Iron Bash is crazy. You might think that I might criticize Ash for not switching out for the type advantage, but I don't think he expected Incineroar to be able to tank a move like that. Kukui then recalls his Incineroar and decides to go with Lucario, and Ash, in his wise ways, decides to counter by using Naganadel. The episode ends with Ash using X-Scissor, a move that we didn't know that Naganadel can use, and Lucario going for close combat. In summary, I thought this was a fantastic episode. There isn't much to say here in terms of reflecting on the episode, since this was a battle-focused episode. I always struggle to say anything meaningful in these types of episodes beside I enjoyed it. I guess I'll say that I really love the variety of music tracks they used in this episode. I also love the different battle types in this episode. What I mean by that is basically the battle tone shifted when certain Pokemon were out. So for example, when Rowlet came out, the battle was a lot more lighthearted. Similarly, when Melmetal came out, Kukui and Empoleon were having funny reactions. I like that about this battle. Not everything is serious 24/7. The show understands that this is an exhibition match. Ash is just having fun, Kukui's just having fun. It's not Paul versus Ash where the winner's ideals are at stake. Instead, it's a match where a professor and his students are going at it and surprising each other along the way. They showed Tapu Koko watching this battle, and I originally thought that when the episode titles first came out, we would see a new Galar Pokemon as Kukui's 6th Pokemon. But the fact that it's been 2 episodes now where they focus on Tapu Koko really makes me think that the reason Pikachu bowed out so early is that he can have the confrontation with Tapu Koko at the end, which would make Tapu Koko Kukui's 6th Pokemon. That way the show can wrap up in a nice circle. If that is the case, I can't wait to see the battle. The next episode, the battle between Kukui and Ash continues, and it looks like the main focus in the next episode is going to be between Naganadel and Lucario, and the conclusion to the Incineroar vs Torracat battle. If you're wondering where Pikachu is in the preview, look at where Tapu Koko was this episode, and it'll be interesting to see. That's all I'm gonna say. But anyways, that's it for my Pokemon Sun and Moon episode 142 review. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below. Out of all the matches that took place in this episode, which one is your favorite? I think for me, it was probably Rowlet versus Braviary. You can also follow me on Twitter at PdGaming, and that's it. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.